90% of the code that we write for our internal apply AI projects are written with AI now. Our team has been using Claude Code for go-to-market engineering. You can put an engineer on your own GTM team and they can build all these tools for them. We keep the sales team small and we have a bunch of agents doing a bunch of work for SDRs.
Like, this is something that you can install and then it can do some magical things for you. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Aydin. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I thought that maybe a good place for us to start is to ask you, what is the killer feature or AI product that everybody should be using right now?
I don't know if everyone should be using it, but there's one particular tool that has been blowing up on X recently. And I've been using this every day for not just code, but like everything else. And it's Claude Code.
And so tell us a little bit about Claude Code and what kind of things you're doing with it, because you can code with it, but you can also do other things with it.
I think Claude Code is such a horrible name because it's not just for code. It's technically agent running on your computer in your terminal. So this was started by as like a side project at Anthropic, and then it grew really big internally, and then they decided to launch it for the public users. And then now it makes them like think like $1 or $2 billion in revenue. A large chunk of Anthropic revenue comes from Claude Code. So what I use Claude Code is I started with coding. So I would use it to build features. And then over time, they put in more features into Claude Code. So now Claude Code can be automated without having the user interface. So you can put that into your workflows and stuff like that. But most recently, our team has been using Claude Code for go-to-market engineering. Go-to-market engineering is something that this guy named Drew Bredovik from Vercel kind of popularized recently, which is that you can put an engineer on your own GTM team and they can build all these tools for them. And at Vercel, they reduce the team of SDRs from 10 to 1. And our company, we hope to do something very similar where we keep the sales team small, and we have like a bunch of agents doing a bunch of work for SDRs.
That's super interesting. I mean, this is a trend that seems to be happening. I saw Jason Lemkin from SaaStr was out there talking about him doing something very similar where they had a team of, I don't know, 6 or 8 SDRs or AEs, and they also reduced that to a team of, I think he called it 1.25 people. And so this definitely does seem to be a trend that people are doing. So let's talk about all of this, but we can start with Claude Code. So for those who haven't tried it, Claude is Anthropic's version of ChatGPT, right? So everybody's tried ChatGPT. Claude is, I would say a competitor. People use it more in a business context, but they also have this thing called Claude Code, which used to be something that you have to install on your desktop, but now it actually exists on the web version as well. But even if you're like a little bit technical, you don't have to be a developer. Like, this is something that you can install, put on your computer, and then it can do some magical things for you. So maybe let's start just on the coding aspect. I have friends who are not developers and they're building these crazy applications with Claude Code, production grade, amazing things. So are you, on a personal note and at your company, are you using Claude Code as your primary coding AI agent, or are you using Cursor or are you using other things at the same time?
For sure. So as of today, Claude Code is my main driver for coding stuff. But in the last 2 years, I've been bouncing back and forth between Cursor and Claude Code. Sometimes in the past, Cursor had like a better feature, but then Claude would come out with, a new model usually. And because it's the same company that makes the model, the harness for the agent for Claude Code is usually better. But as of today, it's my main driver. For our team, we set up a bunch of rules in our code bases for ourselves and for our customers so that when we like run Claude Code, it knows what our taste is like, it knows what the guardrails are, and it knows what our preferred patterns are. So I would say that 90% of the code that we write for our internal apply AI projects are written with AI now, but with really strong kind of observations and observability in terms of like we have unit tests written so that Claude can like write code and then test its own code. So we kind of vibe code, but not really vibing because we're still kind of applying traditional engineering, software engineering principles there.
That makes sense. And so when one thing that I do want to make sure that everybody gets excited about is that what we're going to be talking about today and the things that you're going to be showing are with Claude Code, but they are non-coding things. And so you've been able to automate so many different workflows within your company using Claude Code. And so non-technical people can absolutely do this. And it's probably the easiest way to start automating things within your company or starting to like really use agents. I would say with Claude Code or with Zapier, like these three are probably like the top, easy to use and get started tools everybody should consider. But before we talk about how you automate different things in your company, maybe you can tell everybody like what your company is, and then naturally that'll lead to what did you want to automate.
For sure. So I work here at AGI Ventures Canada. So we do two things. So one, we have an apply AI team that builds internal AI projects in agents, frameworks, and we take those learnings and we help our customers realize the value of AI through our four deployed services. So we work with companies from startups to Fortune 500. And we have another thing that is very important and near and dear to us, which is our community. So not many people know this, but people in Ottawa know this actually. We started from a community called AI Tinkers. So it started with a group of just a bunch of people who were building with AI. And then we got together with a once a month meetup for like 2 years in a row. And then we got a lot bigger and we had some success stories from the community, like people starting companies together, joining YC and stuff like that. So now with the new company, AGI Ventures, we dedicate like 30% of our revenue to keep running these community events and sponsoring things like our recent AI Hacker House, which is something that we just started a couple of days ago, and it's been going really well.
That's amazing. So I guess naturally you have a lot of people applying to both participate in the events, applying to become sponsors of the events. I guess people applying to want you to build workflows for them or to help them transform their company with AI. And that's I guess where you came up with like the first thing that you wanted to automate, right?
For sure. I think one of the problems that we've had since day one, since we started the community back then, was that there were a lot of demands. So our inbound requests, so you have always been kind of missed. So we won't even like respond to at least like 30 to 40% of all the requests coming in. So the first thing we wanted to do when we started this new company is actually, and for our applied AI team, is actually to build something to qualify like incoming leads. So whether or not that company and that person fits the economic buyer persona or fits in the category that of the company that we want to work with, then myself or one of my guys on the go-to-market engineering team will get a ping on Discord. So we just use Discord instead of Slack, and we would get a ping, and then we would reach out. So if you were to send me an email today, I think I will get a ping that, hey, you got to reach out back to Aydin ASAP. So yeah,
That's pretty cool. So I'd love to maybe have you share your screen and then walk us through how you use Claude Code to do exactly this.
for sure. Typically in the past, I would look at the call notes or whatever, and then try to keep all this information in my head, and then hopefully be able to follow up with you with, you know, an invoice or a statement of work or some kind of discovery statement of work. But what I do now is I actually pull up my Claude Code. So in here, for those who don't know, all you have to do when you start up Claude Code is to type in Claude. But I like to live my life on the fast lane. So what I normally do is I do this. So Claude, but then dangerously skip permissions. Don't be afraid, because all this means is that it's just gonna not ask me questions before it runs any tools or does anything, because I want to be able to give it a task, walk away, and not have it like stop. So what I'll do here is I'll say, just had a call
And
with
hi,
Aiden.
just a question for you. So
Yeah.
this dangerously skip permissions, which is pretty cool. Is that something? Is that a default setting in Claude, and you can add that parameter and it'll work like that for everyone, or is that something that you built?
Yeah. So this is built into Claude. So a lot of people have found out that they want to run Claude without any human in the loop. And models have gotten good enough that there are a lot of use cases that this makes sense. So you can put this into your terminal and it should be able to do it things without having to check in with you once every few minutes. So here, what I'm going to do is I want to say, I just had a call with Aiden. Sounds like an opportunity. And I'm gonna press enter. So what this is gonna do and what you'll see in a couple seconds is that it actually will tap into this massive, I wouldn't say massive, but this really highly curated list of skills that our team had built in the past couple months. So, Aiden, are you familiar with Claude skills or agent skills?
So I am. I haven't used Claude Skills as much, but I have used Claude Code sub agents. And maybe you can actually explain the difference between skills and the sub agents.
For sure, yeah. So, sub agents are actually a great way for you to manage context in your main agent. So, this falls under the umbrella of context management or context engineering. Contrary to what influencers put up online, where they would have a folder of like 20 different sub agents with like names like go to market specialist or TikTok specialist or marketing specialist or HR specialist and stuff like that. It's actually not a way to role play the roles in your company, but it's actually a way to manage different responsibilities. So when you think about an LLM and agent, you have a maximum context window of how much tokens or text you can fit in there. So when an agent goes off and does a small thing, what will happen is that small task fills up your context window a little bit. With sub agents, the main agent can delegate that task to the sub agent, and the sub agent can generate, I don't know, 10,000 to 20,000 tokens just due to task. But none of those tokens are put back into the main agent. All the main agent can see is the final result of the task. So basically, this would be very similar to how you, Aiden, you would, uh, delegate a task to one of your employees, and you don't have to know how they did it. And your brain is, completely free of like noises, and you can continue working on your own thing and not have to worry about what are the nitty gritty details of the steps that employee took to do the task. So that's what sub agents are for. It's for managing context windows. Skills, on the other hand, are a way that it's quite similar to tool calling in a sense, in MCP servers in a sense that it's a way to codify knowledge and almost like in a SOP style for an agent to pick up a new knowledge and do a task. And this is interoperable between Claude Code, Claude Desktop, Claude Chat. So somebody from like accounting could make a skill that a developer can also use in Claude Code. And it's basically a way to codify knowledge as opposed to how to do a task, as opposed to like delegating to like a entity to do the task, if that makes sense.
Hey everyone, just a quick pause on today's episode to tell you about my day job. In addition to this new way, I'm the CEO of a company called Fellow.ai, and Fellow is an AI meeting assistant. It joins all your meetings, it summarizes them, tracks the actions and the decision, and does that better than any other tool that you've seen. We've spent a ton of time making sure that the meeting notes and summaries and action items that come out of Fellow are the most accurate, the most precise. It beats any human. You have to try it. But in addition to that, what makes Fellow different is that it is the first AI note taker built from the ground up with security and privacy in mind. This means that you can use it for all your meetings, not just the customer-facing ones, but also the sensitive ones, things like one-on-ones and executive team meetings and those QBRs and everything in between. It's got really good judgment. So for example, if you start a meeting and you're talking about some social stuff that you don't really want on the record that's going to get emailed to everyone afterwards, Fellow just knows. It just doesn't include those things. Or say you have something that you talked about and later on you realize, oh man, that shouldn't have been there. It makes it really easy. You can go back to the meeting, select that part, delete it, and then it's gone from the record. It connects to all of the other tools you use in the organization, whether that's Slack or Asana or HubSpot or Salesforce or Linear or Jira or Confluence, whatever it is, Fellow integrates with all those things. I think the best part is that Fellow also acts as an AI chief of staff. Because it sits on all the meetings and the conversations that you have access to, you can ask it really cool questions such as, what are the biggest opportunities in my company? What are the bottlenecks in engineering? And Fellow just pieces together information, sees trends, and it can answer those sorts of questions. It can even do things like, hey, based on all of the one-on-ones that I've had with this particular person, can you create them a performance review? And it can do things like that too. And the sky's really the limit. What I really wanted you to do is have the opportunity to try out Fellow, check it out, and we're making a special offer available to all our listeners. So just go to Fellow.ai/thisnewway to try Fellow. There's a discount code in there for you if you decide to continue with it. Either way, I would love for you to try it and let me know what you think. And with that said, let's go back to the episode. So maybe we can talk about some example skills. So I see that you have a bunch of example skills on your screen. What's an example skill that we can go through?
We had this GitHub repo that we shared with the entire team. These are the skill files that our team can download. And every time somebody make a change, this repository will automatically generate the file for people to download and add to their Claude. But for example, let me give you this skill right here. So email writer. We have strong opinions about how a rep should follow up with our prospects or respond to an inbound message. We have a particular way that we do it. And speaking for like other companies out there that are more mature, the way that you can do this is you can actually shadow your best sales rep and then see what they do and how they write their things and then codify it into a skill. So in here, the skill file looks like this. I'm going to make it look in a way so that it's more human readable here. It's basically like a text file that codifies all the best practices of how to write a good email. And, things like don't just say, following up and, all the phrases that we want to avoid in our emails. Basically, what would a best sales rep or like a salesperson would do. And then we want to standardize that across all of our go-to-market team members. And in our references, we have like, different use cases for follow-up and prospecting and stuff like that. So that's what a skill looks like. A skill is literally just a folder with a skill text document here and some additional folders if needed.
Yeah, so for everyone listening in, it's basically just like when you acquire a skill as a human, effectively it's like an instruction set that you now possess, right? So you know how to write a good email. So if we took all of the things that you knew about writing a good email and put it in a text document, you can then make that a skill that Claude can use. But what's nice about it, and I love that you guys have done this, is you've made it this shared skill that everybody in your company can have. And so if someone improves the skill, goes into that skill and enhances it and adds maybe like another paragraph of instruction, now everybody in the company automatically gets upskilled, if you will. So it's a very exciting way to do things. And so one question I have is, this document that you're showing us seems pretty comprehensive. Did you write this or did you have Claude help you write it?
Usually, typically, we would have Claude look at our past sales call transcript, or in this case, past emails, and then give feedbacks about what we liked and didn't like about those emails, and then tell it to make the skill because Claude has the skill to make other skills, and it knows the format and stuff like that. But I want to tell you, there's a example today about exactly how we can upskill these skills very quickly. We had an inbound from an organization that is like a government related kind of nonprofit who wants to do something with like agentic AI. So as myself and another go-to-market engineer on our team were going through, trying to figure out how to follow up with this individual, we eventually updated one of these skills, so that next time we have an inbound from a similar organization, it actually will check whether or not this organization is related to the Canadian government of some kind, and then go and find grants that the project or the company could potentially qualify for as part of our follow up, which makes us look more, I guess,
Professional.
legit,
Yeah.
professional. Yes. And our go-to-market engineer just kind of told Claude that, hey, update this one skill, make it so that if you see the prospect is from this particular category, do that. Like go research for grants and see if they qualify for anything before we follow up. before we write a follow-up email. So that's actually a way that we kind of codify our learnings, just like a couple hours ago, actually. It just happened today.
I love that. And so how do you end up using the skill in this case?
I can show you the traces from Claude. And if you want me to kind of like clarify the difference between like a skill and a prompt or like even a custom GPT back then, I'd be happy to do that as well because some people might be curious about like how do they think these things like differentiate.
So, okay, so it seems like, again, just going back to it. So you recorded a fake conversation you and I just had, a role play, and then you said had a call with Aiden. Sounds like an opportunity, and then Claude went in the background, and it seems like it used a bunch of different skills. They used MCP because it's connected to Notion, as I can see here, and it's grabbing information from the notes, and then yeah, and then but it's not using the skill yet, right?
So in here, right now, all it's doing is it's gathering information about you and the company that we have in our CRM, which, as far as we know, is only a one call today. So I can say something like, yes, include yes, read the most recent call transcripts and see which ones map to Aiden. So that's part of the kind of like conceptual understanding that I guess engineers take for granted when working with agents or AI models, which is that we're actively managing the agent's context window. In this case, our company loves to put everything in Notion because we can kind of relate different pages and docs to different databases, and we can all take all of that and give it to our agent for context about the company and the opportunity. So context engineering could mean something like, you going on to ChatGPT and dropping in a bunch of PDFs or Excel files and kind of like trying to come up with a report at the end or like in this case, an email follow-up and an SOW document that I can follow up with. So in that case, obviously it's more manual for you to go and find the different files and tag them and then upload them on ChatGPT. What we like to do here is we have to keep everything in Notion. We build a very bare bones CRM and then we tell Claude where to find it and all of our transcripts, documents related to the opportunity, emails that I've sent back and forth with the prospect are all in Notion already. So Claude Code can just go in there and just find those things very quickly. And the more context it has about the deal and the people that it has to deal with, the better the output of whatever, post or follow-up emails or documents you want to generate, or even pricing and negotiation would be, especially when the context has information about the size of the company, how much revenue, whether or not they qualify for grants and stuff like that. So it has created a new opportunity here, and it knows you because it went online, did some web search about who you are and whose name is Aiden and like works at Fellow. Obviously, it's the CEO of Fellow.
So I will say one thing which is interesting is it did take a long time to do that. Was all it was doing right now just looking up the transcript from the call?
Pretty much it, yeah. So right now, I'm using this model called Claude Opus 4.5, which is the state of the art and
Yeah.
the smartest model, and obviously most expensive. I think at this point in time, this is gonna be the slowest it'll ever be, because over time, smaller models will be able to do the same thing much easier and faster and cheaper. But we are, and I want to preface this to everybody listening as well, this is what a company that has strong engineering culture and have a bunch of developers would do when they do sales. This is not what a typical company would do when you pull up a terminal agent like this and run these models. So actually, looking at the screen right now, it actually read and learned the email writer skill to be able to write you a follow-up. But it doesn't have your email in our CRM, but it does have Christina's email. And Christina was the person who booked me with you for the podcast. So it's just, you know, assuming that your email is going to be something like this. And, I can come in and tell it what the actual email is. But this is what the email that it would write you. would look like.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the episode. One of the common things that we hear is, hey, you all talk about all these different tools, you walk through these demos. Sometimes it's hard for me to follow along. We decided to do recently was take all the things that we talk about, put them in a weekly newsletter. We literally list all the tools, we link to them, and any demo that we walk through, we break it down step by step, put it in this newsletter so it's super easy for you to follow along. And the other nice thing is that if there's someone on your team that you think could benefit, they're working on that subject area, they could use a little bit of AI injection into their workflow, send them the newsletter, send them that particular episode. We make it super easy to do that. It's free to sign up. All you have to do is go to thisnewway.com, enter your email address, and you'll get this weekly email from us. Hope you enjoy it. With that said, let's go back to the episode. Did you tell it to write an email or did it just know? I forget what the prompt was that you gave it.
For sure. I did actually ask it to write a follow-up,
Okay,
right
you
here.
did. Give
Yeah.
me a follow-up. Okay, and then it just knew that it had to go read the email writer's skill in order to create a follow-up.
And I can actually give you an explanation of how it happened here. So the difference between a skill and a prompt and a tool call and MCP server is this. So a prompt, especially a system prompt, stays with the model through the entire exchange or the entire conversation. So it always takes up space in the context window. So the same thing is very similar to a tool call or an MCP server. So MCP server got really popular last year, but there's a downside to that, which is sometimes MCP servers give AI models and agents a lot of tools, and those definitions of those tools stay in the context window of an AI model throughout the entire exchange or the entire conversation, which means you might have degraded or you might run out of context much sooner when using AI. But what a skill is that it tells the model that, hey, if you want to know how to write emails, go to this folder and learn it. And when it goes to the folder, let's say this folder, and learn the skill, it actually learn on the fly and then generate the email and then remove the entire knowledge of the skill from its kind of like RAM or temporary context window altogether. So it doesn't really take up all that, context window that is very precious to when we use agents. So as you can see, there's a lot of text here. None of this text will take up any space in your agent main context. That's why it can learn on the fly, does the task, and then basically you try to forget everything right after. But then it gives you back the performance that you need to do the next thing, essentially.
That's super cool. I love that.
And one last thing I want to say is I can tell it, okay, make him an SOW. And this is another skill and it should read the skill. And a skill is a bit different from a prompt in the sense that the skill can have so a skill can have script files related to it. So we have a script here that basically generates documents, and we can then kind of like define how a document should look like and how they should be designed, and it should be extremely fast to be able to generate that. And this is a bit different from like prompts in the sense that prompts don't have like code files accompanying the prompt. So this is a bit different in the sense that it can now not only like know how to generate document, but actually generate document using a quick script. But yeah, so that's I guess like a one-on-one on skills. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest kind of use case in the next couple months. And now is
Yeah.
my go-to-market agent is trying to like look your company up and see if you raised any money recently so we can price it properly.
Yeah, love it, love it. So the interesting thing is there's also an extension. And I don't think we'll have time to go through it today, but there's a Google Chrome extension you can get that is a Claude extension. And using that extension, Claude Code can manipulate your browser. Like you were telling me that you now filled out some, online application and you did that all with Claude Code without actually doing any of the typing in your browser. So that's pretty cool. And is that easy to set up? You just ask Claude to go do this on a certain web page?
I can show you some, I guess, screenshots of what I did. So here, so I boot up Claude Code and tell it that, hey, actually, before that, I made a skill that has all the information about me and my accomplishments, stuff like that. Because I thought to myself that I'm gonna need to apply to a bunch of stuff probably in the next couple months. And I don't want to repeat myself and just trying to remember all the things that I did. So I made a skill that knows everything about my career history, my accomplishments so far, and things like that. And what I did was I give Claude Code the skill and I gave it, I turn on this feature that is, which is called Chrome, and which basically means that I gave Claude Code access to open my Chrome browser. And I told it that, hey, can you help me apply to this 40 under 40 thing that is kind of like a prize, I guess like a award that Ottawa Business Journal gives out every year. And I have like severe ADHD, so I can't really stand filling out these forms. And I came back 15 minutes later and it did all the things. So I can show you. It did all the things except for uploading in my resume because that's the part that I have to go in and click a button and then upload my resume. But it did fill out pretty much everything else. So I think my next step is probably gonna make this thing do taxes for me. I don't know if this is gonna be a good idea. I know my tax advisor would be probably be horrified, but I'm excited to try that next use case.
I mean, this is really cool. Like, think of all the different things that you have to do online, forms that you have to fill out, applications you have to process, and now Cloud Code can open up your, a browser window and then just do it. So this is really cool. And then just very quickly, maybe we can just touch on it. I know that you guys. I don't know if you want to open the PDF, if the PDF looks nice
Yes.
from the output. But I know you guys also have a Discord, so you have a community of 1,500 people, and you were telling me that you have, you get a lot of questions. Maybe you just want to talk through how did you guys automate the responding of some obvious questions inside of Discord? Is that using Cloud Code as well, or are you using something else?
So right now, we have a Discord bot that we actually open source. So if any companies that has some sort of community kind of related angle, you guys can take this and run with it. But right now, it's using GPT models. But our goal for the next, I guess, couple months is actually to transition this into cloud models because we know that we have this list of skills that we can use for our AI. But before going into that, let me just show you what it means to have a AI kind of like chat bot that can support the community. So I can go to maybe this channel here, which is the Hacker House channel, and I can say something like I can tag it. So its name is called Oat Milk. So I can say this Oat Milk. What's is there any event tomorrow? And
Okay,
then
that's
see
one
what
of
it
the
has.
questions I was gonna ask. So it is a bot. You do have to message it. It doesn't just
Mhm.
like passively listen and figure out when it should respond, right?
Yeah, but then once we're in the thread, I can conversate with it, like and talk to
Right.
it, like without having to tag it. But I think a lot of
But this is a
times companies
program
like
that you guys built. Like it's an actual like you wrote software to make this work here.
pretty much, yeah. And this bot kind of like lives in here and it gives our kind of residents in a hacker house and everybody in the community kind of like a quick access to like, what's happening tomorrow? Oh, there's this like launch party here that people should go to. And I can click on it. And then there's like a link to the event. Or you can basically ask it anything. It's just like I can say something like, what year was the company Fellow AI founded? And again, very similar principles to an agent. Like it can use tool calls to go on the web and search for information. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is the one. Yeah, is that
Yeah.
accurate information?
Yeah, that's correct. I love it. Yeah, it's very cool. Hi, I know we're also running close to time here, so this is awesome. I mean, this I think for everybody, the conclusion I think here is go install Cloud Code. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to code. But what you can do is automate a lot of the things that you're currently doing, and then once you automate those skills, You can share them with the rest of your company. It's really, truly like there's few things that I say that everybody should go do, but this truly is one of them. So thank you so much for walking us through it. So if people want to contact you and get in touch with you and work with AGI Ventures, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, it's just hi at agiventures.ca, and my agent will route it to the right inbox for me.
All right. No, this is amazing. Well, hi, thank you so much for walking us through this. Has been super informative, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people reach out and want to work with you.
For sure, and thank you for having me. Big fan of the pod, and also we're both in the same kind of like AI for technical and non-technical industries. So would love to grab coffee with you at some point and show you some more secret projects that we have to get your
Ooh,
opinions on
secret
them.
projects. I love it. Okay. Well, thanks again, and we'll be in touch soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of This New Way. If you like the content, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you can get notified when we post the next episode. See you next time.